Yeah, so the next goal here... So this serves two benefits to me at the moment, which is number one, I get to rebuild my forces so I can deal with any future conflict with England. Second thing is it'll give me some time to change my vassal's opinion of me. Basically, I'll wait until I'm not in that conflict anymore, and then I'll basically try to buy off whatever vassals don't want to participate. And I think at this point we'll just have a day of amnesty because I'm in a good mood. Should also host a grand tournament at some point, but... Okay, Kid generally likes me, doesn't like government type, seniority, succession, foreign, okay. But he can be bought with a... oh wait, I can't give a title to a kid, so I am going to need to do something to make him like me. I think we'll actually just keep this guy in Galloway for now. Actually, the right call here might just simply be to... maybe the right call will just be to pay him. Means I don't have mercenary money, but... oh dear, okay. But Peasant Revolt. Peasants have risen up in Clydesdale, led by a disgruntled former soldier. The rebels have the nerve to demand independence. They can demand it all they want, but they are not getting it. I actually have a friend from Fife. It's just 20 prestige after all that's done. Oh well. The kingdom is secure. I think that'd be a good time to add to the retinue, actually. So we've got light infantry. I do like bowmen. Maybe we add some pikemen to the mix. Nope, don't have the option. More archers. It's actually the only option I have, so I'll go for that. Okay, so the last of the West Francians are off of the English soil, so again, they're still at a pretty unmanageable level of forces. Now, actually, I want to know how much of that is just based off his military. Ugh. I'm just going to have to deal with strong English army for a lot. So, I mean, the smartest thing to do would just be to enter in some kind of alliance through marriage. But Pope is upset with our law of free investiture. The Holy Father is asking us to change to comply with church doctrine. I rule in my realm. Although, speaking of which, I should probably... I still can't appoint successors. That sucks. I really wish the King of Castile would hurry up and finish his war. I also kind of want to make this kingdom right now, to be completely honest, but I'll hold off. Partially because of the Twitch advice, but also partially because I'm going to need this gold for mercenaries. I mean, the advantage that I will have in a war with England is that I will have a larger number of troops mobilized who are at full... basically at full strength. So as long as I can use that to kill his... As long as I can use that to sort of kill his forces before they're coordinated, it's good. The majority of these troops do actually come from vassals. But there's a lot of ifs behind that. Elfwyn is adamant. She tries to make me appoint one of her male friends, who might mean more to her than I earlier suspected steward. No matter how well our current steward, Bjornmoth of Lancaster, does his job, I need to decide whether I should make Elfwyn happy by, or if the current steward will get to keep his job. I am not going to be taking orders from my wife. To deal with more... Well, Spymaster's already working on that, so... Yeah, I mean, I think what the succession laws are going to come down to are just buying off a bunch of people. But I really need to find the solution to this English question. I mean, the normal strategy has always been to wait until they get into a war, but it's... I mean, that war could be with me. Probably not a good idea to start a war with Aquitaine. Obligate the vassal. Honored King, thank you for reminding me of my duties and obligations as your vassal. You are right, of course. For the foreseeable future, you have my promise not to support factions conspiring against you. So we can get our Spymaster onto slightly more useful things, such as technology. I have also apparently been sitting on a bishop who's been doing nothing. Let me just take a look and see. I don't think I have any church vassals who are upset with me. So... I really don't want to make him regent. So what's a gift going to cost me? 40? Yeah, I can handle that. I don't think a gift's going to be enough. But making him Senchel will. Or I thought it would. Yeah, there we go. So hopefully I can preserve these relationships long enough to get my succession laws in. Okay, a large merchant caravan from distant lands arrived at the gates of your stronghold. Their leader, a joyful man of massive girth, pleads with you in a strange accent to grant them shelter from the elements of night. Very well, let them in. As evening falls, the fat merchant sits by the fire and regales you and the rest of the court with stories of his travels. His appetite seems insatiable, but you do not wish to prove a poor host. You order your servants to bring in a second serving. Tell us more about these mythical realms of Hindustan. Dawn breaks and the caravan prepares to move on. The merchant insists on leaving you a gift as thanks for your great hospitality. He shouts a terse command in a foreign language and a young man comes forward. This eunuch will serve you well, the merchant says. His loyalty to you, his new master, shall be beyond reproach. That was very kind. I accept your gift, and I gain a new diplomat. Ah, England did it first. This is crappy. Okay, so the first thing we do is take out the biggest force. This also means I'm not going to be able to press the claim on Cumberland just because he's going to be at a truce with me. I actually think the next thing I should do is just hire mercenaries right away. But I need to make sure that they are away from the battles till they gain full strength. Alright, so the trick with these guys will basically to make sure that they do not get any rest. Now the next thing basically what England is going to be doing right now is they're going to be moving their troops to a position where they don't need to worry about where they can kind of build up their strength, like what I'm doing right now. So I need to make sure that I'm keeping the pressure on them and basically not allowing their forces to become big enough to become a problem. So the mercenaries might have proven to be expensive and unnecessary. Oh, spoke too soon. That's a really large force. I might actually just have to accept these losses. So what we do now, because I don't have to deal with a force of 10,000 troops, I consolidate. And then we'll just basically meet them. So 9,000 troops is a little bit easier to meet at with 12,000 troops. Does mean that they're going to be claiming some of my territories, but I'm not that worried about it just because I'm going to be able to get them in an unfair fight. What I might even consider doing is sweeping in to take out that 10,000 troop, or that 1,800 troop unit first. So that way he doesn't have any reinforcements. In the chaos of battle, your men have managed to corner Baron Sexbald. He resisted bravely before they slew him. Good riddance. So yeah, the 10,000 troop force is now crossed a river to engage me at a larger, basically engage the larger force. So effectively, I've broken the back of the English. I'll be able to take out my mercenaries once I finish chasing down this group. So, to the great King Eastman, Condottiere Carlo of Lombard band, the inability of our previous employer to provide contractual pay has caused us to look for employment elsewhere. We would serve your majesty if you would have us. How opportune. And I am losing this battle for some reason. Okay, I don't get why that happened, but that's a really, really big problem. I don't want to spend 450 on them. Let's get 2,500 group. And they'll probably be chased down in a minute. See, that's mystifying as to why I lost that battle, because they were crossing a river and engaging a larger force. But in the meantime, I can call in some allies. And the idea here is basically to just give up a few territories while I bring my morale back up. And then I'll be able to kind of come crashing into them. I also kind of need to be a little careful about this because they might be able to raise some troops of their own. But it looks like we'll have some reinforcements coming in pretty quickly. And I think we'll just slow down the speed to see how this progresses. So definitely the numbers are going where I want them to, the morale's going where I want it to. And we've got peasant problems next. Maybe Herbert of Stafford was captured in battle and is now my prisoner. Duke Wolf the Just was captured in battle and is now my prisoner. Okay, so a bunch of high priority captures. I think because of my current financial situation, I'm... Actually, no, okay, I'm going to chase down these forces first and then I'll get rid of the mercenaries. So they're heading to Leicester. So now what I need to consider is how I... Okay, I'm going to split out the mercenary forces. I'm going to get rid of the vassals. And then this company is basically going to go back to capturing, because, I mean, despite the fact that I had a fairly significant victory there, it doesn't count for the war score, so now I need to start recapturing my territories and basically dealing with the enemy forces. The most important thing for me to do right now is to keep those forces under heel. Unfortunately, that's just mercenaries that I'm giving up there, so they'll become cheaper as time goes by. I'd also have the option of taking out a loan, but I'd rather not do that. And again, ideally, I'll be able to get this so that I can not just enforce a white peace, but actually make them pay for what they've done. I don't want to give you territory. So next step is, once I've reclaimed my lands, I'm going to basically recall the... basically bring the troops... bring the liege levies back home, because I do still need to keep these relationships in place to put in primogeniture succession. This guy's starting to get old. But I also want to make sure that I win this war. I'm also to see whether or not I have any ships of my own, because that'll give me some good intel on how they're moving their troops. I do. Let's just get these folks on a small spying mission. This is a strategy I like using, basically, especially when I'm dealing with a larger force like the English. Being able to know their troop movements is a pretty significant advantage, because it's what allows me to carve up their stronger forces. Getting a lot of good prisoners. Now, I don't want to fall into the trap that I did last time, which was ransoming them right away, because I kind of want this war to be over as soon as possible. I definitely want to have the majority of the English forces obliterated before I give up my mercenaries. This is already a pretty costly war, but I'm going to be able to fire them pretty quickly, it looks like. Again, at this point, I just want to smash the English as much as I possibly can. They're in a really disorganized state, but that can turn on me at any given moment. So as long as there's troops on the ground, I will be hunting them down. Once they're gone, then I can get rid of the mercenaries and start turning a profit again. And once I reclaim my territories, I'll also give the vassals their levies back, because I don't want them to turn against me just because of the extended war. Something tells me, though, I'm probably going to have to give up these mercenaries at a time that I don't want. I don't really want to go into debt just so I can chase down, units of like 100 troops. I should reward him, but I like the real score more. Yeah, I'm really running out of money here. I think we just call it for the mercenaries. I mean, the best case would be if I could actually start staging some sieges of my own. But reclaiming the homeland is probably the number one priority. Oh, wow, I'm still paying money. Looks like I might actually just have to accept the costs. And yeah, so let me think about how I handle this. I mean, I'll run my treasury down as much as I can, then I think I just borrow from the Jewry. I don't think that'll be enough to finish the fight, to be honest, but Let's at least get the vassals taken care of, so that's at least enough for me to sort of chase people across the countryside. I'm probably not going to be winning any sieges with this, but it does enough for me to start getting some small victories against England. And my next priority should be to start taking the personal holdings of the king. I mean, all he really needs to do to wipe me out is one good mercenary army. But I think he's as broke as I am. Oh, and he's got a revolution to fight now. And he's possessed. Okay. Actually, not too worried about what she learns. I don't want to... I mean, I'm losing money by having more of these units out than I really need, but I still think being able to look at English territory is worth it. Okay, you know what? This is getting a little silly with chasing, so... he holds... Essex, Middlesex, Leicester, Warwick, Worcester. Well, Leicester's close, so let's start with that. So it's the absolute worst idea for me to be cranking the speed on this, because at any moment he could just raise troops. Like that. So the nice thing about this is I'm obviously going to win my siege before he wins his, even if that means I have to borrow money. The next trick is I then move up into his siege group, and that will take out his troops for a fairly substantial period of time. Not really a lot of good prospects as far as locals, so at this point here I just consider somebody who has some fairly good stats and will give me some prestige. So in this case the Princess of Italy is the way to go. I'm definitely getting worried about this guy's age though, because I want to be able to institute the succession laws that I want. I've at least evened out the war score now, so I could probably go to peace if I had to. But this is a time, I mean, especially given the fact that I'm going to be forced into peace for an extended period of time, I want to be pressing some claims. Let's see what happens actually if we... So yeah, I'd get 248 gold and prestige off of that. So it looks like we got a bit of a boost to the Siege of Leicester, which is good, because this siege here is getting a little bit spookier than I want. Regrettably, I am going to need to take a loan out. In the worst case scenario, I do expulsion, but the good news there is this guy will die relatively soon, so I can bring them back quickly. I also want to make sure that if I do have to use that option, I will that I have all of my technology bought. Oh, Ender, sorry, this isn't Risk of Rain. Oh, crap. I completely forgot to change the sign. Thank you. Enders, we are on the... by the way, I see you sent those messages like ages ago. Sorry, I was really locked into the game. So the... this is the son of the guy who got the Kingdom of Scotland. The original plan was to press a claim on Cumberland, but I was worried about the relative size of the English army. Now, the problem here was that I just let the English army keep growing, and so they declared war on us. So what sucks now is that the claim on Cumberland is going to die with this guy. And I'm probably... Yeah, I'm probably just out the claim. Now, as you can see, we've expanded into Wales. I can actually found the Kingdom of Wales if I want. But the problem is that the war has become so expensive that I've borrowed from Jewish merchants. And I'm doing everything I can to just keep the army paid while I... all good, this is the game of ages. Yeah. Let me just actually get the title for Crusader. I was thinking this might actually explain why the channel's been relatively quiet. By the way, chat just vanished on me for a minute, so just give me a second while I bring this stuff up. But yeah, so I mean, I just got dealt a really crappy hand with the English attacking me. Now, fortunately, I've proven that I am actually able to deal with the English, even though they had 11,000 troops. But it is... then you can call me Hitler. Okay, so the catch here is I did not see the message that preceded, then we can call you Hitler Chalk. Yeah, fair enough. So... claims fabricated. I'll just have to live with that. So I've got a bit of a decision here now. I can try to... I think I'm just going to chase these guys down before I go any further. And then I'm basically going to go back to sieging the King's Holdings. Let's leave that as a floating statement. Makes it funnier. But yes, I mean, the good news out of this is it's shown, even though that they have a capacity for 11,000 troops, I'm able to take them down. Now, the problem was is that my treasury was at about over 1,000 gold, and I've had to borrow to continue this war. So effectively, basically, if they were to get back in strength faster than I can rebuild my treasury, I'm not going to be able to do this again against them. But I think the best thing that could happen to me is I put a cap on this war relatively quickly, and then... in enough time for that king to die. Then I don't need to worry about any truces. But yeah, so I mean, what originally was going to be the consolidation of power after becoming the King of Scotland actually turned into a bunch of expansionary conquests, just because a whole bunch of titles just became available. So it sort of meant I was in this state of total war. But in the end, I mean, it does give me more troops to draw from and ultimately deal with England. The one problem is that I haven't been able to actually claim territory from England, so they're always going to have those 11,000 troops to draw on if I let them grow to a certain degree of strength. So, a rather heated discussion between myself and the stablemaster caught Wolgifu's attention, and after listening to us both, she settled the matter between me and the stablemaster in a fair way. I got the horse, and the stablemaster got the coin. Good. Generations are spiraling upward. Yeah. I mean, I was sort of preparing to lose territory to England this time around, to be completely honest. And I think the most important thing that we learned when we were still subjects of England in this time around was that in Crusader Kings, it doesn't have to be just one string of conquests after another. You can actually afford to, take some kind of a loss. You can cut your... you can kind of cut the bleeding by surrendering early. and just wait for an opportune time to reclaim the territory, because it's ultimately the family that matters. But in this case here, yeah, there's lots of claims that are being fabricated. So I'm having my doubts that I'm going to get the succession laws that I want, just because I'm going to have to deal with all of these different groups. Fortunately, our score is slowly ticking up. But I also know, because I'm going to need mercenaries in the next fight with England, I don't want to just get the white peace. I do want to enforce demands, otherwise I'm effectively setting myself up for defeat in the next war. Let's take a look at the vassals. Oh man, I got to abandon this ambition. Let's get... I mean, learning is the most easy one, but I think I need diplomacy because I've got... Oh nice, everyone loves me. Okay, so I do actually have some hope for my succession laws. I just need to finish this war. And let's just take a quick look at what England's sitting at. Yeah, they're still weak. Hey, Smell Like Poo, how's it going? Is it not bad that my lands are separated? It's a small problem, but the important thing here is that I get full morale from troops that are built, that come out of my personal domain. That's all based here. Everything else would be vassals in the north, so they're going to spend some time marching anyway. Now, Europa Universalis having a split kingdom actually matters, because ultimately what happens there... I'm alright. I will admit that school's becoming a little stressful. I've got... It's actually one of the reasons why I switched Thursdays to an optional stream, just so I kind of have that that leeway to get some homework done. But as a whole, things are going quite well, and I'm happy to be streaming again. I'm definitely really enjoying Crusader Kings as well, so I'm very happy that it seems to be a relatively popular title on this stream, because it means I just get to play this a little bit more. Alright. This is a potential successor. Let's just do the quick algorithm. I really don't like that military skill. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah, well, I mean, especially if I want to go to grad school, like, this is the time for me to show that I can manage streaming and still perform academically, because the last thing I want to do is... I mean, certainly the channel has grown since you first came in. It may be by a small amount, but certainly viewership is raising. There's more activity in the chat, all things that I like. And so I think it would be a very big shame that going to grad school would sort of cut off the option of continuing. So this is a nice little trial run to see if I can kind of serve both masters. But yeah, it's just a matter... It's one of the reasons why I actually resisted putting up a schedule for such a long time, because I think it makes it hard to... you know, like, if there's something I really need to get done and I've committed to it on a streaming day, I really want to make sure that I'm consistent with those. So, sort of in my... only 7 of 14. Well, I don't want to lose ships. It's why I was kind of hesitant to put up a schedule, but I think what I've got now is sort of manageable, so we'll do the best with what we can. Sorry, I was talking about a divided continent, so schedules are risky. Yeah, absolutely. But on the other hand, too, like, if I don't create some kind of expectations in terms of where I'll be for people, then I run into situations like where I have to cast that Dota 2 tournament, and you know, nobody knows when I'm going to be streaming again. So I think it's good to at least commit to some kind of schedule. Oh, nice. All right, so that's a lot of prestige and gold going our way. Stand down the troops. And first thing I want to do is pay back that loan. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, and again, I'm certainly in a very fortunate... Oh, come on. I don't have the legalism to bring in primogeniture. That's such a pain. Okay, well, I'll do the other one that I wanted then, which is to institute agnatic cognatic. That sucks. That was a really good opportunity there, because this guy was so young that he could... Alright, well, that's fine. I just... What do we need for legalism? 270? Yeah, we're going to be waiting a while for that. Wow, he's got 6,000 troops already. So his son's going to be a problem. So mercenaries are basically the answer for England. Now the one problem that I run into here as well is I was wanting to put some money towards building the building my infrastructure, but I think at this point here I just need to keep saving up. Oh, actually there is one thing I am going to do though. Blow a whole bunch of money on a tournament. Because prestige matters! Okay, so what are we looking at here? We've got Durham. Okay, so I can actually claim this from one of my... I have no idea why I can actually declare holy war on one of my vassals, but there you have it. And I can claim Cumberland, and apparently I don't actually suffer a penalty. So what I will do in that case... I'm at least going to wait for the tournament to finish, and maybe just throw all their throw all their tea. Okay, I've drawn to a large, cheerful crowd standing in front of a tall building in Westmoreland. It seems they have gathered to watch the antics of a man who has climbed onto the building's roof. The despairing man, tired of the hardships of life, is threatening to jump, and several of the onlookers are goading him on. Don't do it! You hurry inside the building and join the desperate man on the roof. No, stay away, he cries when he sees you. You slowly climb out to the ledge next to him. I just want to talk, you say, as you edge closer. I can grab the man, or I can talk to the man. We'll do the diplomatic route. You speak gently with the man, addressing him as an equal and as a friend. As you talk, you carefully guide the conversation and subtly make him realize the folly of ending his life. To the crowd's dismay, he agrees to come down with you. I, too, have learned from this. Gain 1 diplomacy. So what I'll do here is I'll wait for the tournament to finish, and... Man, I really don't know what I do about England's troops. I think I just hope for the best in terms of their... we will obligate him. I think, honestly, I just hope the best for the positioning. Oh, beautiful. So I'm still waiting for the tournament to finish, but I think I'm just going to keep this window open so I can keep a ticker on where he's... My liege, please listen to me. That man you are fond of is no more than a treacherous, despicable snake. Bishop O'Shea tried to convince me to be more careful about my friends. I did not know, or I don't believe you, you're just jealous. Well, I can afford an influence loss on both of them, but... Bernard Carling has been crowned the winner of my grand tournament. He truly deserves it. Well, Randolph Buchanan's bravery won him second place in my grand tournament. Most valiant performance. And Alpin McCarran fought his way to third place in my grand tournament. And fought hard he did. So I believe that means the tournament is done. Yep. Okay, so what are we looking at for... Okay, 2,000 English troops. I'm willing to risk it. But we are committing everything to it. Okay, so the tournament wasn't quite over, but... Okay, so that's convenient. I think what I'm going to do here is, once the sieging force is sort of united, I'm going to cut them in half and get them to deal with the English troops. I mean, they're dealing with the revolt, but that should just mean that should just be the opportunity for me to fight. Alright. I also don't want to bring my king along just in case something goes wrong. 20 versus 19. It's not that much, but we'll go for it. Oh, and I can finally appoint some successors. Oh, can you just tell them that Italy is sneering at them and encourage them to get into a war with someone else? No, I can't. At some point, I actually need to conquer England so I can get rid of their papal investiture. Now, the tricky thing for me here is that I don't actually want to hurt the revolutionary forces. So I'm kind of walking on eggshells here, but this should still be enough to take out the English troops. Which indirectly actually helps the rebels, but I'm not going to cry about that. Okay, got a reasonably high profile prisoner. And now we move on to Surrey. My spy masters are not worth their salt, yeah. But my generals are earning their keep, that's for sure. Alright, so Kent I can handle. The only thing that is sort of bugging me a little bit about the English campaign is that basically every single time that I want to weaken England, I am actually going to need to get some kind of claim on their territory. Alright, I want nothing to do with the Cathar uprising, so let's just get out of here. Oh, son of a bitch. We can't disband that unit, can we? Nope, that sucks. Okay, now we can, though. No, we can't. Please have mercy, Cathars. Oh, we just lost them all. Oh well. Wow, you give your generals keep. No, I do not give my generals keeps. What a complete disaster. It is impossible to try and get a hold of that guy. He always has some excuse to get away from me, ignores me, or even hides from me. I'm not that scary, right? Okay, so now we need to be... Oh, well, nope. Here we'll just keep sieging. So I still don't really need to worry about English troop sizes. Hopefully they get tied up with the peasant revolts. I'm a little concerned just with my ability to get my war score up, because I am still... Oh, no, actually I'm at a positive balance, so... Again, I know it doesn't make for the most compelling viewing experience to have this menu up, but I actually really want to keep an eye on the British troop strength, just because that's going to determine whether or not I need to raise further levies. Once I have Cumberland, it's a little bit easier. Then I can just kind of... I'll mostly focus on taking these. Oops. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I was saying something a little bit about the... I mean, I now have land connecting... Well, I'll have land connecting the rest of the Kingdom of Scotland, but basically, in Europa Universalis, that actually can matter, because if the owner of the territory doesn't actually give you permission to cross, you can't. In Crusader Kings, apparently, you can just trample all over whatever place you want. Did I just become the wicked? No, I'm the wise. Good. So the worry would be if I, for some reason, felt I wouldn't be able to unite my forces in the kind of the areas that I want them to be. He always keeps asking for a fief, and I always keep telling him he's not ready. My co-conspirator Earl has asked me to... I am not blowing my treasury to kill a I mean, I put that guy under assassination for a lark. But yeah, so basically my bigger worry about the lack of kind of a land connection would mostly just be that I don't want my troops to be... split. But my strongest forces are all focused in the area closest to the front lines, so I'm not too worried about that. Looks like I've got some more factions to deal with. I'm not too worried about the side. Success, King Thor perished in a manure explosion. There's no trace of my complicity to be found among the rubble. Excellent. So the next trick... Basically, I'm just trying to inherit this kingdom. You know what? There's got to be something better for me to do with this. Minus 24, minus 9. Let's work on that. Explosive manure, way to go. Yeah. It's an old family recipe. That or explosive manure. What are they doing with my thesis? What a shitty way to go. Daughter was born to Prince Centris. Has got whatever. It's family members. Who cares about them? Just want to get this war over with. I mean, the thing that sucks is that England is getting weakened by these fights, but I don't get any kind of credit. There's a side of me that wants to send these troops in to smack them down, but I think I'm going to get more from seizing territories. It's as if I see Elfwin for the first time. Her good-natured spirit, the increasing interesting and funny quirks she has, and how lovely she really is. Could it be that I love my Elfwin? Embrace the love I feel for her. Gain 5 piety. And they fall in love, but I think they're both too old to have kids. Here lies King Joe, he who smelt it, dealt it. I am appointing you all my advisors when I become king in real life. Bishop Michael has been approached by the Pope and is clearly disregarding our lawful rights. Will someone rid me of this troublesome priest? Okay, 3,000 troops is actually a problem for me now. So once this siege is done, I'm going to go on a small hunting expedition. I definitely let that go longer than it should have. I mean, the nice thing is I do have the option of raising levies again. I've got about 3,000 troops in reserve. I just really don't want to have to use them if I don't have to. Oh, nope, looks like they got their asses kicked again. So maybe the better call now. It looks like they're kind of getting melted by all of these uprisings that they have. So maybe the better call is just to slowly take territories along the edge here. Problem is they always keep growing so fast. I wish there was a way I could bankrupt them. Yeah, so it looks like they're just getting mowed down by the uprisings. Another reason why I really don't want to have my troops there. So I think we just slowly bleed out the country. A mysterious Jewish man has offered his services at your court. He is well versed in the feudal court intrigue and has a past both as a mercenary and a spy. If he can be trusted, he could very well prove to be an indispensable asset in your council. We have a schedule up for streaming yet, or guess on which nights or whatever. The schedule actually should be on the main page. I slightly adjusted it today, so I have basically Mondays and Fridays are my set streaming days. I've changed Thursdays to be an optional. Now, to give you an idea, basically in terms of what I mean by Thursdays being optional, is that I've noticed that Thursdays are the day that I tend to have some homework due, which is what keeps me from doing the stream. So if I can dedicate Thursday to being like, I have stuff I need to deal with, I'm not going to do a stream now, it basically allows me to do like a makeup stream on the weekend or something like that. But I will guarantee Monday and Friday unless something important's happening, and that'll be kind of what the Twitter account is accounting for. Other than that, though, kind of, you know, the follow button and Twitter are the best ways to hear when the stream's coming on. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is I want to be at least consistent as far as the stream goes, but I've noticed that if I get too ambitious as far as the schedule is concerned, I just wind up disappointing people. So Mondays and Fridays are something that I can lock in for more or less for sure. And then making Thursdays optional just kind of gave me what I needed as far as flexibility to make sure that I got through the term. I'm also really late on my break, but I think I'll wait till this war is over and then take a minute. Yep, Monday through Friday, I wish. I mean, I was talking about this a little bit before, just as far as school is concerned. Definitely, I want to make sure that I'm able to maintain streaming, even if I wind up in grad school, because I think, I mean, number one, it's a hobby I like doing. I definitely really like streaming for you, especially now that there's some regular people inside of chat. And just generally, I mean, it's a fun hobby, and it's I like that people get some enjoyment out of, you know, the interaction. But I mean, so other than the fact that I don't, you know, I want to make sure that I'm at least keeping to a realistic schedule in that. I mean, the other thing too is that even if I don't intend on pursuing a career as a streamer, which is obviously hard to do, I can definitely see some different avenues that I've been exploring where Twitch would be beneficial to it as well. So there is kind of a little bit of a, you know, keeping the future in mind concern with that. But I also want to make sure that I don't put my education in jeopardy through streaming. So this seems to be the nicest compromise that I could come up with. I realize it's not a perfect one, but it's the best I've got right now. Actually, hang on. So technology advance, I can. So I don't know if trade practices actually gives me anything. I think I'll just go for castle infrastructure on the theory that it'll actually do. And military organization is definitely going to pay off. So here I'm waiting on culture advances because legalism is what's going to ultimately get me my... legalism's finally going to give me my primogeniture succession. I always keep complaining about what a bad idea it is to do combat at 5 arrows, and yet this is the second time I've had an extended siege, which I just put up to the 5 arrow speed. Alright, looks like this war's over. I had patience with Aelfun's obsession with books until they started to invade our bedchamber. Books everywhere! Do not want! Or letter B, and I gained the trait slothful. Well, sorry, but a woman just has no business reading books. Offer peace, enforce demands. And I've laid claim to Cumberland, finally. York is giving you the stinky eye, say go for it. Well, if I declare war on England now, I become a truce breaker. It looks like I do actually have a couple of claims in the territory, so that's one to keep in mind for future. Alright, so I don't owe anybody anything, right? Nope, I will be having a war with my own vassal, though, it looks like. So let's just get this claim out of the way. We've only wanted Cumberland from the very beginning. Hey, look, we got it, didn't we? So yeah, this is probably going to result in a war as well. Actually, I can probably make it easier for myself by raising these troops right now. Let's not put the levies in play, actually. So I lied, I'll do one more war. Okay, then war it is. Wow! I didn't know he had so many troops. This might be a problem. Let's tone down the speed a shade. This is mostly just so I can start handing off territories to my kinsmen. So yeah, I did a good job of evading my troops. I'm going to be fighting them on slightly fairer terms. Not enough to be concerned about, though. I do have a pretty substantial advantage. The morale is mildly concerning, though. Okay, what the hell just happened? Okay, so vassals get called in. So what I do when I lose this fight is I consider disbanding the force. Probably should have just gone all in with my vassals. King... Oh my god, I just lost this war. But it was inconclusive, so... Man, that could have gone really badly. So is he still a vassal? Wow. Okay, well, I don't learn from my mistakes. Yeah, well, time to take the Welsh Kingdom, yeah. I mean, that was just a string of bad luck. That's actually happened to me twice now, where I've had a clear advantage as far as numbers are concerned, and yet all of a sudden my morale just drastically dropped. In that case, I basically, next time I do a war like that, I'm bringing the vassals in, even if that winds up costing me some opinion. It's cool that I didn't lose the territory. Saves me from conquering it, but at this point now I'm just going to sit, lick my wounds, and hope England doesn't invade. Definitely don't have a peace treaty with me. And I believe my retinue will rebuild on its own. Oh, it looks like I can hire people. What do I want to add? Okay, I really am going to take my break this time, so thank you for stopping by. I am kind of tired, so if you can just bear with me a second, I will ask 3 minutes of your time. I'm just going to get a drink of water, stretch a little bit, encourage you guys to do the same, and we will return to the saga of the House of Rose shortly after. See you guys in a minute. I will explain what happened when I get back. It makes sense. Okay, so I'm not 100% clear on what happened, but basically the idea here is that the war, I believe, was about... the war was basically about him retaining his lands. So even though I lost the war, it was so he could still remain the owner of this area as opposed to a war of independence. At least that's my best reading of it, so... Now, I'm not so completely stupid that I'm going to try and do that with my current forces. But once I've got everybody trained up, I will try and take that claim again. In the meantime, get rid of the faction in Moray, and I think in this case, cultural technology is actually the way to go, because that will bring me closer to legalism, and the next generation can worry about primogeniture succession. So basically what happened here is I lost the war, but the war was basically for him to retain his lands. Now, if he was declaring independence and I lost that war, then I would need to get on. The other thing they said was that the war ended inconclusively, so in that case, usually they just kind of wash everything clean. I'm not quite sure why it would end inconclusively in that situation, so... there might have been another reason why that madness happened that I'm not aware of, but effectively what it just comes down to is what we were fighting for, in my opinion. might have been scared about pissing off all of Scotland. Well, I mean, look at the number of people who were aligned against him. Like, if I wanted right now, I could revoke that county from him. But my wife feels I risk too much with my escapade. Wait, that's not my wife. My courtier feels I risk too much, but it's such a thrill. Yeah, I mean, one, that battle shouldn't have been lost. I have no idea why that turned out the way it did. And number two, just to have a king captured in battle like that is so unlucky. And I mean, other than just not putting him with the troops, there's nothing you can really do to anticipate it. So now, I mean, you can say it was dumb of me to have him in, you know, in that position. I couldn't really contest that, but certainly, I mean, I think it was like a 900 troop advantage that we had, and he was not at full morale when we engaged him. So that should have been a battle that was very easily won. And I'm actually not entirely sure how it turned out that way, other than the fact that it's actually happened in this playthrough tonight. So we just move on. And once our troops are rebuilt, we just take the title from him again. At least gives me something to give to my son. Looks like we'll be waiting a while, though. And I really wish my chaplain was researching where I told him to research. So the biggest key here, like normally I would like to be doing things like holding feasts and that, but I really want to get my gold up to that point where I can basically hire a mercenary band and basically hire it twice, so I can also sustain it. I think at this point here, especially given that England, when it's not dealing with 100 revolutions, is relatively strong, I think I should basically be shooting to hire the 450 ones. So in this case, I'm really looking to have 900 gold and then build things on top of that amount that I hold. So it does mean that I'm going to be waiting a while. I think the exception that I will make to that will be to revoke the title. That's mostly so I can stop the prestige loss from having an unlanded son. And I mean, my intention is to basically make all of my vassals members of the House of Rose at some point. And usually I want to do that at the end of the life of the ruler, because if I screw it up too badly, you know, most of the hate is on the guy who dies rather than the guy who's inheriting the kingdom. Stubborn Baron of Westmoreland is really getting on my nerves. My wife, Aelfwyn, sensed my irritation and offered to give me advice in the matter. Her diplomatic skill has saved me many times before. I hope she can save me now. Yeah, and 20% chance of gaining one spot. Perfectly happy with the way things are. I've gained the content trait. Keep forgetting how long it takes troops to rebuild. This guy's got 3,000 troops. What am I sitting at? Yes, I mean, in theory, I can take this guy on, but we saw what happened last time. Seeing another woman behind... I didn't know I was seeing somebody behind my back. Seeing another woman behind my spouse's back is becoming quite troublesome for me. The lies tear at my soul, and longing to be with my lover is almost too much. So I can break off the love affair. I can possibly gain stressed, which is a killer. I don't care for my spouse. Chance of becoming lustful. Chance of becoming cruel. I think I'll go for this one. I mean, he's not going to be having any more kids, and a little bit of piety a turn will improve the score overall. Speaking of which, I believe it's time that we did our once a generation comparison. Mark II of Rome, I see you have 1,453 piety. Did you know that some Scottish ruler has 1,842 piety? Perhaps it's your evil-looking beard that make you less pious. I will hear your confession now. But yeah, so I mean, this is not the most compelling viewing by any stretch of the imagination, but at this point here, I need to wait for one of two things to happen. Either I have 900 gold, at which point I can start playing around with mercenaries, or I wait until my personal troops are at a level where I can safely seize that territory from my vassal. It's possible that this guy will die, or my vassal will die before I can take advantage of that, but it's just a risk that we take. I'm also not crazy about how much money a month I'm making here. 895 seems kind of small for a guy who owns a kingdom, but so pious. Especially considering I broke off the affair though. Let's see what's wrong with. Well, it's a scarred pope. This pope was a legitimized bastard, slothful. And he expelled the Jews. Ah, believe one of your vassals can be discouraged from associating with conspiratorial factors. Sure, threaten him. Okay, so this guy has a 15 stewardship, and the old steward has 9 shoes. Yep. Honored King, I ask your forgiveness if I've done something to offend. I obviously wouldn't dream of associating with any faction conspiring against you and your enlightened rule. You are forgiven. But not really. Oh, and he was incompetent. Alright, time to get the Spy Master to... I mean, this is the one thing I really hate about the way I use my Spy Masters. It always feels like I'm just putting out fires in my own kingdom rather than training for technology. But there's nothing else I can really do about it at this point. Okay. I mean, the challenge here is that all of this training that I'm doing is for not just because I have no idea who's going to become the next. Well, okay, I have a place I can find that out, but it just feels like I don't really know who's going to be inheriting the kingdom next. So, I mean, we'll do our best for education, but it's just it's a bit of a die roll, to be completely honest. At least until we get primogeniture succession. I mean, one of the big ones is at least now I have because now, I mean, I haven't cut off 50% of the, the possible heirs. I am pretty great after all. I think I should be proud of myself. I lose the trait humble. Alright, so I need a new Spy Master. I should get my... Actually, I think I'm just going to get my chaplain to proselytize right now. The problem with having my Jewish Spy Master is that if the Catholic Church wants to complain about him, that's an easy way for me to lose piety. So, clearly we do what any right-thinking individual does, which is to force them to convert to our religion. You miss great-great-grandpa? Where is he buried? Somewhere here. You actually look for 2 tombs. You've got the tomb that houses the body, and they made a special tomb to house his balls. My new pilgrimage should be to great-great-grandpa's. Actually, I believe it's just great-grandpa. Let's just... we'll double-check that in a minute, but... I really don't like his military and his intrigue, but the diplomacy and stewardship are really good. Yeah, new pilgrimage to the tomb of great-grandpa. Okay. let's just take a look at where we are as far as generations are concerned. Okay, so Eufwald was the father of... Okay, so Eadbald was the first. And then it was Ealdwine. Eadbald. And Eastmund. Okay, so... Dad. Granddad. Great-granddad. Yeah, it's great-grandpa. So it would be a pilgrimage to great-grandpa, and it'll be great-great-grandpa when this generation dies out. That is less than ideal. Oh, actually, no, that's great, because they're going to be adding that to my kingdom. House called Training Ground has been built in Burr. Well, great, because I didn't pay for it. Okay, this is definitely premature. We'll do this the right way. We'll at least amass the troops and get their strength up. And then I will revoke the title again. It's like we have somebody trying to kill my spy master. Again, he is a heathen, so that would at least solve my problems. Way to honor great... Forgetting how far I was down in the lineage. Listen, I love the fact that we actually already have a favorite character in this Crusader Kings playthrough. I mean, I'm personally quite fond of Dad. I mean, he is a guy who is able to take advantage of an opportunity and claim Scotland out of nowhere. But I can see why the original gangster might be the way to go. Proselytize more. Alright. Let's commit some acts of injustice. War it is. Wow, he's got a lot of territory. Fortunately, I have an angry mob. So again, he's in full force, which is less than ideal, but if he successfully takes out a force that's twice his size, or slightly less than twice... No, it's twice his size. I don't know what I'm going to do, to be honest. Okay, so... Oh no, they're the defenders, so good. I'm going to slow this down just to watch exactly what transpires. Yeah, half my kingdom is his. Not for long. So I'm almost wondering if just maybe one of my flanks is breaking too soon. But what matters is that we have broken the main force, so we'll just keep chasing him down for a bit. And once they're whittled down to a very manageable size, we will get rid of the vassals. Okay, works for me. Gonna say moves like this, they're not just pure greed moves. One of the reasons why I sort of want to have the area, like why I'd prefer to have a lot of these duchies taken over by members of the House of Rose, one is because it is all about the family, but two, the fact that so many of these people actually don't like my ruler because he is a foreign conqueror actually affects the number of levies that I can raise. And so when I'm going to be fighting with people like England, it actually matters that I can't raise as many troops as I would normally want to. So basically being able to put family members in charge of these areas is something that's going to allow me to become stronger when it comes to managing the rest of the kingdom. Alright, I think I just need to start laying siege to some stuff. Alright, so I've got a charismatic negotiator for a daughter who I need to start marrying off to people. Can't get any alliances out of it, so I think we just go for the straight prestige. Definitely not him. Oh, actually, this will be interesting. So let's marry to a Prince of England. It doesn't result in any kind of an alliance, but at least it'll give me some claims on territories, possibly. And looks like the war is done. Wait a minute, he probably died, didn't he? So again, inconclusive ending in this case because the guy died. Dorsing too direct. That is very true. So apparently I'm not allowed to take over kingdoms anymore. It's nice to see that England's still in trouble. Be cool to take Northumbria, but I really want to wait for this treaty to expire. I'm also waiting for the Duchy of Powys to claim that territory. That'll just save me from the trouble of taking that from somebody in my bloodline. We'll just speed up time waiting. Again, we're waiting on the gold amount first. And then we can start thinking about... We can start thinking about other ways to expand the land holdings. Eventually I'd like to move into Ireland, but I don't see a lot of points in tying up my troops in Ireland when there's the possible threat of the English, or at least opportunities to weaken England through taking some of their territory. Obviously, I've got a few years for the truce, but if the current king dies, I want to be able to take advantage of that. We could also claim areas in the north as well. But again, the biggest thing here is like I have nothing to fear from anyone in Ireland. I have nothing to fear from these northern areas as well. And I could technically create the Kingdom of Wales. Beautiful. So we've just added to our territories. So basically, the most credible threat at the moment is England, and the more I can do to weaken it than just cleaning up Ireland and all these other territories is, you know, just another. It's trivia basically. So it'll be slow, but basically having that you know, having that starting endowment that allows me to buy the mercenaries if I wind up in some trouble. I can always turn that into improving my holdings later on if it really comes to it. That, and I mean, it's nice to sort of just sit back and wait for legalism to get where it needs to be, because I really do want to get that primogeniture succession in. Seniority isn't the end of the world, but it definitely gives me less control than I would like. And looks like I'm starting to think Steinberg might fancy me. Of course we'll make a move. We're chased, aren't we? I went to Steinberg's chamber and gave her a good tumble. She is 25. He is 63. Match made in heaven. It's good to be the king. So yeah, this is exactly what we want to see happen here. We've got a broken England. Holy War from Mercia, eh? What do you have for troop strength? I think this looks good. Oh yeah, especially because they're Cathars. Great. This is just one of those indirect ways we can claim some territory from England. I don't necessarily want to get my vassals involved in this, though, so... Steward Bjornred has some interesting ideas on how to improve the economy. I always accept that when I can. And it looks like I had my Chancellor making people like me, but I don't see... Well, I just have nothing better to do with him, I guess, so... We'll do that, and looks like I haven't been using my steward properly, so let's... Oh, that's right, because I replaced him. Still don't have the legalism I want, and... Can't choose any plots. I have not been paying attention to known plots. Okay, so get rid of that one. Again, this is a little bit different from most of the people I talk to about this game. I do actually see what the plot is... rather than just instinctively cancel them. It's mostly because a lot of these people are... Like, I mean, I don't want my spy master to die, especially if they have a 90 opinion of me. So all of these ones here are fairly stable individuals. Now, let's say they were getting rid of a, you know, some kind of a noble who was preventing me from passing the law that I wanted. Then I might consider entertaining their request. But at this point here, all of these plots are against people who are useful to me, so I want to stop them. And now I have a whole bunch of pages of groveling to deal with. So this is a nice indirect way to weaken England. I mean, they already lost the revolution, so in this case here, because it's heresy, I can afford to claim some territories. The fact that England lost them on their own is already great, but if I'm able to pick them up in a cheap fight, so much the better. This is a pretty greedy positioning, though. I need to be careful that... I mean, I think... How many troops did he have again? I think he had something like 2,000? Oh, 153, so they'd still lose... Again, I don't want any unnecessary risks as far as troop sizes are concerned, so I definitely want to take as much territory as I can as quickly as I can. Maybe once I start getting into the southern parts, I'll kind of consolidate my forces into a big troop. Oh. Apparently I usurped the title without even knowing it. Got a better candidate for a marshal. They're both bearded. Actually, significantly better marshals, so go for it. Again, it winds up pissing off the person who gets kicked out, but I'm not too worried about that, just simply because the laws that I want have already been passed, or I don't have the legal ability to pass the ones that I want. So in this case here, What I potentially lose is tax revenue. Now, if I just take a look at who likes me, none of the people who matter to me have, like, nobody who was paying taxes to me before was affected by that decision, so I'm not that worried about it. And at this point here, I mean, the faction already has a spy master on it, so it's going to be dealt with or it's not. Actually, I should be focusing on appointing my successors, though, so let's get him. He's probably going to die before this guy, and I still need to deal with... One of the other... Actually, maybe I should be talking about this as well. One of the other reasons why I want England to be dealt with as soon as possible is the majority of bishops that I'm dealing with aren't under free investiture because they are subject to England. That wasn't you who usurped... What was it? Was it someone the Wicked? I apparently usurped a title from somebody whose name was Wicked, not the other way around. Okay, no alliances. Next one to look for is Lustful. So now we just go for as young as we can find. I think this courtier is probably a little too low rank. Well, it's not bad, but let's see if we can do better. Okay, so if we went for the Princess of Castile, we would have... Well, there's not really that big of a prestige gain, so at this point, I think I'll just go for the younger one. Okay, we'll obligate the vassal. It's not like I had an option out of him. I'm obviously going to take him where I can. Thank you for reminding my duties and obligations as a vassal. You are right, of course. For the foreseeable future, you have my promise not to support factions conspiring against you. So I can get my spy master doing slightly more useful things like stealing technology. It'd be kind of nice to have them in these positions where I'm possibly going to be fighting, but that's going to be technology that possibly spreads to my territories anyway. So. Damn that Pope. Oh, nice. I have a bastard. I will acknowledge him as mine, but I'd rather not legitimize him. Oh, looks like Prince Rory's got a bunch of friends. I think I'm just going to hold off for now because I would like that extra technology just to bring me closer to legalism. Acknowledge bastard piety goes up. Yeah, but I don't necessarily want all my sons and daughters to dislike me. I really wish that was English territory that happened in, but that's not that bad. Obviously, weak neighbors is a fairly good state of affairs for me. Holy crap. I think I'm just going to have to accept this loss. But we are going to get the vassals involved now. I don't even know where that force came from. It's more a statement than advice. You acknowledged him and my piety went up. Oh, fair enough. So I suspect I just need to blame that on this, you know, the speed that I'm doing this war at. But I definitely did not see that. Like, I don't see what territory. Oh, you know what? They probably came from well, no, there's no connection in Bedford. I don't know. I mean, if I had it my way, I wouldn't be fighting these guys at all, but they are going to be getting in my way when it comes to taking over that territory, so probably should educate my child. Yeah, I know you hate having to do your duty. It's always the Marshal's fault. My strategies are always perfect. So in this case here, it's basically just building a super army to smack Kent back into the ground. It's also going to help with this, basically speed up the siege. I definitely do not want them taking territory if I can avoid it. Again, I'm happy one of those miracles didn't happen again where they suddenly have a massive boost. I mean, I have no benefit from taking out Kent. Oh, your commanding presence on the battlefield was felt during the recent victory by friends and foes alike. You bolstered the spirits of the men when it was needed the most, and you personally led the final charge that broke the back of the enemy army. Songs will be sung of this day, and I gain 100 prestige. Told you it was all the Marshal's fault. Oh, I get why Kent's involved. They're these guys. Yeah, so I was thinking Kent was acting on England's behalf, where basically they were just trying to reclaim the territory. But in this case, they are actually aligned with my enemies. Again, usually vassals tend not to get involved like that, but... his base is in Kent, that's why. Alright. Now that I'm done being dumb, we'll go back to the siege. I guess I can get rid of my vassal levies, but... maybe I will be careful and check to see what my enemy forces have first. Or what forces my enemy have. Nothing to concern myself with, so... So because this is labeled as Mercia, I believe England held that long enough that it's been retitled. So Duchy of Mercia, Essex, Kent. Okay, so it looks like I am just only going to be getting this area here. Pity. I was kind of hoping I'd get everything, but... now that we've taken the land, we must go home and flog my marshal for his failures. No. I need somebody to blame. Mission to Carrick so far has been a success. During my visit to the court of Chief Gavin of Carrick, I managed to make him understand what a benevolent and peaceful ruler you really are, and he sends his regards. I like my chancellor. England's been pretty quiet recently. possessed, he's maimed, he's got 2,000 troops, 200 gold, and he doesn't like me. We're both old though, so I want to see if I outlive him or not. Stupid Pope. Oh, right. I lost this guy's successor. All right. Word has reached me that an ambitious adventurer Ingolfur is gathering men for some sort of attack on my territory. I think of assassins. This is actually particularly nice because I don't think I had any other plots. So, I always like ranking them by plot power. I don't know if I really want to spend money on this. Actually, this guy's 45, so let's see what would take. 32. I'll go for it. I think anybody 20 or higher I'll bribe. I mean, it could be that enough time goes by that I don't actually succeed in the plot, but we'll do our best. I mean, that's a healthy number of conspirators. Not quite enough. Oh yeah, it did take us to 100. Now, I mean, this guy could just be laughable in his strength, but I'd really rather not have to deal with an invader, especially if England gets back on their feet, which doesn't seem likely, but you never know. And again, I'm doing fairly well on my wars, so I'm not going to need to call in the mercenaries. I can sort of afford the gold, so. Okay, this has got holdings for days, it seems like. How are they doing for troops? My co-conspirator Gerberer has assembled a party of mercenaries that will ambush the adventurer, disguised as highwaymen. I am assured that he will not survive the encounter. Yes, the roads just aren't safe anymore. These mercenaries are taking their time. Failure! He got away from the ambush, but at least the disguises of the mercenaries held up, concealing my involvement. We'll just have to try again. And should be fairly soon given the plot power. We're going to try the exact same strategy because it worked so well the last time. It's so hard to find good help these days. Success! The mercenaries ambushed the carriage and made short work of him. They let the driver go, and he is convinced the attack was carried out by highwaymen. Oh, those nasty bandits. Suddenly, I don't need to worry about adventurers anymore. Ah, so I forgot that there were more, I didn't know there were any more holdings, so I think at this point we just march straight on Kent, which is a personal holding of my opponent, and that'll kind of allow me to end the war a little bit quicker. I am still bringing in money, so I'm not too worried about it, but it's probably good to just get this wrapped up as quickly as possible. Perseverance wins out, exactly. I mean, actually, just the amount that I get by ticking by and holding those territories might be enough, but it's probably a good idea to just have this Taken care of. My spy master seems to have friends and informants inside every Jewish community in Europe. Messenger pigeons arrive at his abode on a daily basis, often carrying vital intelligence from abroad about new weapons and tactics. Excellent work. Gained 50 military technology points. Nothing I can use, though. I mean, I got the extra point in military organization, which is probably my highest priority. I also like light infantry because I think the ability to damage people in the first phase, the archer phase, is good. The only problem is when I'm a little too heavy on archers, it does mean that I can take bigger morale hits. Alright, so we've got a new pope. Oh yes, I didn't, should probably appoint that successor now. Always nice to have blood. A mysterious Jewish man has offered his services at your court. He is well versed in feudal court intrigue and has a past both with mercenary and spy. If he can be trusted, he could be very well prove to be an indispensable asset in your council. Now, my efforts to convert the last guy didn't do much, so I think in this case I'm just going to research cultural tech so I can get closer to legalism. Again, not a... Oh, well... There it is right now, so I just wasted my time. Legalism is not a priority right now, as we've already changed the succession laws. We at least brought in agnatic cognatic, but he's 49. I'm going to be cutting it close as far as age is concerned, but if I can get primogeniture in, I will be in a very good spot. Can't do primogeniture without high crown authority, though, so we implement that as quickly as we can. May need to bribe some people to get it ultimately, but we'll see what we can get with just natural forces. Actually, Prince Rory might be enough. Oh yeah, the guy who inherited the kingdom that I wanted to usurp. Something tells me he's not really gonna want me to have that much more power. Yeah, not happening. I'll make him keeper the swans at least. I think it'll probably do absolutely nothing, but we can try. Yeah, looks like you got some decent numbers for this. You'll notice I'm not putting that much attention in terms of the daughters that get educated. That's mostly just because I know there are enough sons to inherit the kingdom. If I felt a particular need to improve diplomatic relations with somebody, I would look for somebody who hates me to educate the child, but in this case here I'm just kind of going with the automatic one because I'm basically just waiting for my war to finish and focus on more important things. Effectively, that's just me being lazy. Alright. So now I gotta get rid of some holdings. So one drawback with Holy Wars, I wind up with a little bit more than I want. Okay, so I've got Lancaster and Galloway. Okay, so I don't really want to give up a duchy, but I can give up some personal holdings. Gotta figure out what the hell I'm doing with that. Well, I have a couple of turns because I gained them through conquest, so let's just move my troops to where I want them to be. Okay. So, I mean, the best thing for me to do would be to have some kind of a title that I can give to one of my sons. Would I have to give up holdings? In the top area here, there's my personal domain. Currently, I have a capacity for 5, and I'm holding 8. So the drawback to that is I have basically for having too many holdings, I get fewer military units and less tax from those regions. Also, basically, if like the goal here is to give as many territories as I can to members of my house, which is House Rose. So the usual strategy would be to try and give, give some fairly good titles to, to members of this family. Now, if you notice, all of these areas that I just kind of claimed are family members. What I'm really looking to do is start claiming some of these areas up in Scotland, but my options for plots don't permit me to take any of these titles. I should also probably get rid of that. Nope. Okay. She's somebody who likes me, so let's compel them to abandon the plot. I mean, what I could always do is just give up the title of the duchy, but that sort of just lowers my personal power, so it's sort of a last resort. So let me at least take a look so I've got the Duchy of Lancaster, which is sort of my primary holding. I definitely don't want to give that up. And then I've got Galloway. Actually, I'm okay giving away Galloway. I just don't think I own either of the titles, which is the problem. So who owns this title then? Oh, it's Lancaster. But this can't be Lancaster. So where's Leicester located? This is the Duchy of Mercia, but it says I am not the Duke of Mercia. Okay, well, next option, I'll just take a look and see what I can grant as far as titles. Okay, well, the way I see it, I'm eventually going to be giving this title to this guy anyway, so 3 holdings. I'll give him Warwick, Leicester. Is Derby part of it? Derby is... Oh wait, no, that's part of Lancaster, so... Okay, well, I'll at least start by giving him Warwick and Leicester. I can just give it all to him.